This is Embrace Your Inner Boldness, a podcast about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. I'm Melissa Henning Frank, coach, guide, and founder of Becoming Bold. I help you strip away the conditioning, reclaim your voice, and rise into the power that's always been yours. Let's get right to it. Hey, thanks for tuning in. This episode might be uncomfortable for you if you struggle with the topic of setting and upholding boundaries. I'm really curious what your experience and comfort level is with this. Some people have no problem at all saying no when they mean no, and others really struggle with it. And it's mainly because they make themselves responsible for how others are going to react or feel if they have a boundary up or if they say no. So this episode is intended to shed some light on why it's not just good for you to have boundaries, but it's good for everyone around you. It's a form of kindness even, and since I like analogies, I'm going to start with one. So setting a boundary is like budgeting your energy the same way you budget your money. You only have so much, so you decide where it goes. And it's saying, I won't answer work emails after 7 p.m., or I can't be the friend or family member who always drops everything at the last minute. Boundaries are not about shutting people out, but they are about protecting your time, your peace, and your priorities so you can actually show up as your best self. Despite how it might feel, boundaries are not mean, they're not selfish, and they're not going to make the world fall apart. You know what actually does fall apart? You, when you keep pretending that you don't need them. And I know the things that you tell yourself because I've told myself them too. It's just easier to do it. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, or they'll be mad if I say no, or they'll be upset if I say no, or disappointed. Those little excuses are actually tiny betrayals to yourself that pile up into resentment, exhaustion, and burnout. So let's fix that today. When we start talking about boundaries, most people immediately feel that knot in their stomach, and you might be feeling that right now too. But why? I think it's because boundaries are really tied to our earliest wiring. So if you grew up in a home where saying no got you punished or ignored, or it made life chaotic, your brain still thinks that setting a boundary equals danger. So even as an adult, your body remembers. And the idea of telling someone no can trigger guilt, fear, or even panic. And for women especially, there's another layer. We've been trained since childhood to be nice, agreeable, easygoing. We're rewarded for keeping the peace and smoothing things over. And that programming runs deep. So every time a boundary needs to be set, that little voice pops up. What if they think I'm rude? What if they think I'm bitchy? What if I disappoint them? What if they leave? But here's the truth though. When you don't set boundaries, you end up drained, resentful, living on everyone else's terms. But when you do set boundaries, you actually gain energy, clarity, and self-trust. Boundaries don't push people away. They're actually an invitation so that the right people come closer to you because they know exactly what to expect from you. And if you're a leader, your boundaries don't just serve you, they model psychological safety for your team. You're showing them it's okay to have limits, to speak up, and to protect their well-being. Now let's talk about the fears because they're real, for sure. There's the fear of rejection. So that's if I say no, they'll stop liking me. There's the fear of conflict. If I set this line, it'll start a fight. Or the fear of guilt. If I protect my time, I'm being selfish. And the fear of loss. If I enforce this boundary, I might lose this relationship or this opportunity. And every one of those fears comes from an old story, but those stories aren't who you are now. So what does this actually look like in real life? Boundaries show up everywhere. At work, it might be saying no to a meeting that really doesn't need you there, or closing the laptop at 7 p.m. instead of answering emails until midnight. In family life, maybe it's refusing to be the automatic holiday host or not tolerating comments that cut you down. With friends, it's saying no to plans when you just don't have the energy, or realizing you're always the one supporting but never being supported back. In relationships, it can be not letting your partner dismiss your feelings or brushing off red flags because you're afraid of being alone. And in your personal life, it's protecting your sleep, keeping your workouts, and not putting your dreams on the back burner just because someone else's needs are louder. So here's the shift that I want you to see. Boundaries are not walls. They're doors with locks. So you decide who comes in, when they come in, and how they come in. And you don't have to explain yourself with a 5-minute speech every time you lock the door. A simple and clear, "that doesn't work for me," is enough. It's definitely not easy at first, and you're probably going to feel kind of shaky and wobbly. You'll get pushback because people benefit when you have no boundaries. And that's not a sign that you're wrong. It's a sign that your boundary is working. It takes a lot of practice. And the more you practice, the more your nervous system learns a new truth. I can set boundaries and still be loved. I can say no and still be respected. So start small. Notice where those pings of resentment keep showing up. Those pings of irritation when somebody asks you for something. That's usually the first clue that a boundary is missing. So practice saying no in low stakes situations. Keep it short. And when you hold the line, celebrate yourself. Every time you set a boundary, you're casting a vote for your own boldness. And boundaries aren't just about protecting your calendar. They're about protecting your peace, your energy, your boldness, and they're proof that you believe that your needs matter. When you start to live like that, everything shifts. Your relationships get better. Your work environment gets better. And the way you show up in your own life gets better. And you look back over time and you realize all of those little practices really turned out for your benefit. And things are going to go much smoother for you. So your takeaway from this episode, I hope, is that boundaries aren't a betrayal of anybody. They're a declaration of self-respect. So until next time, please be kind to your mind. That's it for today's episode of Embrace Your Inner Boldness. If this stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Screenshot this episode, tag me at Becoming Bold LLC, and share it with someone else who's ready to rise. And hey, if you haven't already, take a second to subscribe, rate, and review the show. That's how we spread the boldness and keep this movement growing. Whatever came up for you today, feel the fear and do it anyway. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or permission. You are powerful. You are ready. And remember, the only limit to your boldness is the one you set for yourself. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep becoming you.